Hello and welcome to the Scenic Route with me, Victoria Stewart, where we talk about the road less traveled and the adventures we take when we get off of the superhighway of our lives and start taking our own scenic routes into building something more interesting in our own lives. So today I'm very excited for Magnolia Cloyd to be here as a guest. Hi, Magnolia. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Victoria. Thank you for having me.
So, Magnolia is a print and editorial designer, but would you like to introduce yourself a little bit more thoroughly?
Yes, hi everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with Victoria on her scenic route, which is like I've really been taking the scenic route I feel like my whole life. So
Yeah,
I'm Magnolia.
exactly.
I am a print and editorial designer. I am the founder of Strength and Grace, which is a small boutique studio designed to help founders, specifically women, launch their brands and their books with faith, with beauty, strategy, and ease. A graphic designer for 15 years and wound through a winding road of designing everything from print, digital, social media, event signage through branding. I've settled on designing print materials, so journals, planners, books, calendars, devotionals, conversation cards, anything that you can take your message and place it on is the thing that my heart loves to do and to be able to help women do for their businesses. God has placed messages within all of our hearts that he wants us to put out, and I believe that it's my calling to be able to help women to do that through my design skills. I am also a homeschooling mom of two, and I've been married almost 10 years next year. We've been with my husband since college. So it's been a long journey together. And thankfully, I have a great husband to like walk this winding road with.
Yes, it's like even more fun when you have a partner to take on this adventure, right?
Yes. And it helps, like, I believe that as a woman of faith, that everything that we do is sanctifying, and marriage, motherhood, business, it is to you. But it's always good because it helps you like confront your selfishness and your ego, and it's like a good check to be like, okay, am I doing this for myself, am I doing this for our whole family, is this in line with our values? So it's nice because sometimes it's very easy for us to just be like, nope, it's this way, and it's like
Yeah, totally. So, I am curious, since you have been doing design for so long, like, is that where you saw yourself going, like as a kid, or when did you go to college for design? Like, what did you see your life looking like early on?
oh, it was actually very interesting. No, I had zero idea that I would be in design. I never considered myself artistic at all. Like the one year that I was like really good at art was my high school year of art, where like everything I did was like beautiful, but I never really saw myself as, artistically inclined. And for years, like in elementary school, middle school, early high school, I thought that I would be a chef. Like I had ideas of owning my own restaurant because I love to cook. I love to watch, especially like Rachel Ray and her 30-minute meal. So I would
Yeah.
pretend on weekends when I cook. Well, in high school, I cooked every day because I'm Spanish. So usually, like the daughter, like is the one who like, takes over everything at a certain age. So my middle sister had gone to college. So now, like homekeeping was like my responsibility. But anyways, like I would pretend I had my own cooking show and I would invite people into my
Mhm.
kitchen and I would walk them through everything. But then I heard this stat that just stopped me cold, which was that one out of every four restaurants actually succeeds. So that means that every three in their first year fails. And rather than thinking that I would be one of the ones that succeeded, I automatically thought, oh, I'm going to be one of the ones that fails. And so I decided to pivot. And instead of going to like culinary college, I was like, well, what's something safer? Business is safe, marketing is safe. So I
Mhm.
went and did marketing and entrepreneurship, which is interesting. Like thinking back, like I was already afraid of failing. Why would I do entrepreneurship? But okay. So I did marketing and
It's a different
entrepreneurship.
sort of failing, right?
Yeah, basically. And so I did the marketing, and my first job out of college was a marketing and communications coordinator for my alma mater. And
Mhm.
through that job, I learned graphic design on the job. Like I learned how to make flyers. I learned how to design books. I learned how to design branding. I learned how to do event flyers, social media. Like I self-taught.
Mhm.
I taught myself in design and illustrator during those 4 years post college and fell in love with it. I really fell in love with the design aspect of it, and I was like really bummed. I was like, I didn't even know this was like like a possibility. I because like marketing is all strategy, but I really love
Mhm.
the creative side of it. And then for my second job, I did more graphic design for a county at a government level, and really just honed in on the cohesiveness and the strategy and the branding and how it all flows together. And I
Mhm.
actually fell in love with print at that time because like I designed a calendar, I designed two annual reports, I also designed like a residence magazine through the county, and I put together like 300-page the biennium budget, so like the financial document that the county has to put out every year to say, this is where our money is going. I really, really enjoyed that. And my plan was when I was done with my current job to then start looking for editorial design jobs because I
Mhm.
really wanted to get more hands on experience through a company. But then God sent me down a different path, which was becoming a stay at home mom. I got pregnant in 2020, and my husband and I decided that it was time for me to come home. I loved it, we were great. And then during that time was when, in the middle of young motherhood, I designed and produced and launched my own planner that I've used to help me keep my days as a homemaker like as planned as possible, because with children things happen. But that planner then was like called me to say, I really want to do this for other women as well, and not just like for my own self. So that's kind of like the road that I've traveled to get here.
That is so cool. Um, and I do think it's interesting how now you're building your own business and that's what you went to school for.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
you went this way and now you're able to bring those skills into practice in your own business, which is so
Yeah, and
cool.
like it is really cool. And like I think of it when I was going, I was like, it's like a river,
Mhm.
Sometimes and like God always calls you back to what you're supposed to be doing, even when you think like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be going this way. Somehow, like the river of life always meanders you right back to dreams that you had at the beginning that you didn't even know were there. And yeah, so like even though like I did entrepreneurship and I didn't want anything to do with it really because I was scared
Yeah.
of failure. Like it's brought me back full circle, anyways.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that you were saying also that you didn't feel like you were artistic because when I think of a chef, I think of them as an artist also. It's just that their medium is food,
Mm-hmm.
and like a lot of times the food is beautiful and also delicious.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, I didn't even think about that when you just said that too. That yeah, like I guess I was not. I guess I was creating art with my food, and like now I've really gotten into sourdough, and like I just still
Oh,
creating art in my home in that way because like there's so many beautiful things you can do with sourdough with food in general. So yeah, I think that anything that we create with our own hands in a way is art because especially if it expresses our souls and our heart's desires, people are going to connect and resonate with it.
yeah. So cool. So, you when you talk about the business you're building now, you have three words you use as like your pillars. Have those three pillars because it's beauty. What are the three pillars?
Strategy,
Uh-huh.
beauty, strategy, and ease.
So has that always been how you are aiming to live your life, or has that come through in learning design?
Oh, that's actually beautiful. No, it's actually come through motherhood, to be honest, and my Catholic faith. And that's because of my Catholic faith. It's the faith is truth, beauty, and goodness. And
Mhm.
I want to infuse my home with truth, beauty, and goodness. And as I'm um, what's the word, like shepherding my children and teaching them the faith and building a home that's covered in truth, beauty, and goodness, it's like, well, I want to bring that into my business as well through faith focused feminine, right? So those are my three words. And then strategy, beauty, and ease mesh with that really well as well, because strategy is your truth,
Mhm.
and and it's not like, God's truth or whatever, but it's like your business is truth, the truth that you want to resonate with your audience. That's your strategy. Everything that your business is doing, design wise, branding wise, message wise, all comes back to truth, all comes back to strategy. Beauty is beauty. We want our words to be beautiful, but we also want the pages around our words, the containers around our words to be beautiful, because that is how we connect. Our souls yearn for beauty, and then you know that's true, because when you step outside and you see a beautiful sunset, it takes your breath away. When you see a butterfly flying by and you see that yellow against that green, it touches your eye. So you your our souls are drawn to beauty, and then that is where, the beauty of truth, beauty, and goodness. And then goodness is ease, that it's about being easy, that you're working with somebody who takes your business as seriously as she takes her business, as seriously as she takes her faith, her family formation. And it's easy, you put your projects in my hands, and I'm going to take it with care. I'm going to take it with diligence. I am going to turn around something that is beautiful, strategic, that matches what you're already putting out. And you just say, oh my God, thank you so much. I receive it. And, so that's why, like, it translates so well, because, like, I believe that we are all called to live an easy life, not like easy, but like
Yeah.
easy, where um, there's something that you can fall back on. There's knowing that, like, you're taken care of, that things are gonna flow, that if it's not good, it's not over. Like, whatever that
Right.
saying is, I always forget that if it's not over until it's good, and if it's not good, it's not over. So we always have more to work towards, and that it all ends with us being winners anyways. So that's where that really comes from.
Amazing. And that kind of goes back to what you were talking about with the river, like brings you back, right? Like if you maybe stray a little, it brings you back to your purpose. And
Yes.
you're
I was gonna
talking a
say, like,
lot.
mhm.
Hmm.
Oh, I just
Go
want to
ahead.
say really quickly about ease as well, that it's like I've spent so many years fighting my own self and my own desires, that that's another reason why ease is a core word of mine, because I don't want that anymore. I want to
Yeah.
flow and allow my feminine intuition and the Holy Spirit to guide me and to go where He's leading me, because I've learned that whenever I fight it, it like comes, like, it's harder. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that is so important, right? Because I think a lot of times in our lives, we're, and we've been trained, right? You have to work hard. You're like
Mhm.
working hard equals good. And so in this
In this
instance, you're
instance, you're
saying
saying,
that that's not really the metric, right? Like that's not really the measurement. Like we want it to feel like, oh my gosh, I love this thing that you've created. Wow,
Mhm.
this really does reflect me and my brand and what I am like
Mhm.
trying to bring into this world, right? Like that's so, like I'm getting like excited just just thinking about it.
Yes, and it's also like, I love you said, like, that programming, right? Because I've had to get
Yeah.
that myself too. That life is a struggle. That everything has to be hard. That, putting your product out there, yourself out there, making money, growing your business, being successful. That it's all hard, 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 hard. And I don't believe that that's true. If you're coming at it as your true self and following your path and not somebody else's path, it's easy. Not easy like you're gonna be rich tomorrow, but that you won't have to fight so hard to connect with the ones you are meant to connect with.
Yeah. Have you noticed yourself now that you're aware of this? Now it's part of your business pillars, like the values of what you're trying to build. Do you notice like when, or if you like start to drift out of that ease, like do you start to notice it and bring yourself back?
I do really try. I work on that a lot, because I'm busy. I'm homeschooling my children. I'm still a full-time homemaker because my husband is working. 10 to 14 hour days, depending on what his schedule is at that time. So anytime that I catch myself like getting stressed out or trying to force something, I actively take a step back and say, no, I don't have to operate in that land anymore. Like a really concrete example is forever, I remember like we would go grocery shopping, and as soon as we came grocery shopping, I would be like, I need to put everything away. No, it doesn't matter if I'm tired. It doesn't matter if I have a headache or people are hungry. It's like I need to do this. Now I'm like letting that go and be like, no, we'll come home, lay out the groceries. I ready. Let's go get change. Let's rest. Let's drink water. I can do this in a little bit later because like it's okay if the groceries sit. Like of course anything that needs to be in the freezer, I'll put it away right away. But I'm learning that like you don't have to force things. It's gonna work in its time, and it's much better when you learn to just like this could wait, or I'm gonna take this on right now, and that friction kind of releases. Because if I notice that like I want to get something done, but my children want to play with me, they're gonna keep coming back, right? No matter if I say I'm busy right now, they're gonna keep coming back because they need that connection time. So I've learned that they need me right now, so I'm gonna put this down, pour into them, and then once they've settled, their cup is full, I can come back to the work, and it's going to be a lot easier than at first when I was like trying to force it to go through. So yes, ever since I've like that, like it's like okay.
Right, because there's a flow, like you were saying.
Hmm.
It's like in and out. Okay, well, maybe I thought I was going to be focusing on this, but right now I'm going to do this, and then I'll come back to this thing that I thought I was going to be working on when the energy is right, when the time is right, where I have the attention, like I can focus my attention there. Right now, the kiddos are saying, "Us, it's time to play,
Yes,
mom.
exactly.
The
Yeah.
work
And it's
can
so much
wait."
easier. Yeah. And it's so much easier to just say, you know what? That's okay. And or like if I'm tired, right? Like this morning, I normally like to wake up early, work out, spend some time with myself. But I've been go, go, go because I've had like a lot of projects due in a very short window of time. So this morning, I just laid in bed longer than I normally do. And I gave myself that grace because you also have to rest in the middle of work. And that's part of that ease as well, like honoring my own body and listening to what my own body's needs are, and not just keep like shoving it off to the side because that's not good.
No, it is not. So you have brought up your faith a few times, and I think you also mentioned it as part of like the women you love to work with, that you're wanting to bring that beauty strategy and ease into other faith-based businesses or what
Mhm.
these women entrepreneurs are building. And I'm curious, has that been important throughout your life, or is it something that became more important at a specific time?
Yeah, so it's becoming more important at a specific time because I didn't grow up faithful. So I always, I would always be like, I acknowledge God, and like we would go to mass, but it like I went to Sunday school, did all the kind of things, but then high school dropped off, college would just go during like Easter and at the beginning of Lent, and it wasn't until like my mid 20s when I really came back because like I've always felt God going like this to me
Mhm.
all my life, but I was afraid to give my life to Him because I knew that when I gave myself to Him, the way that I lived my life would be completely different. Magnolia in 2017 is so different from the Magnolia that I am now. Like my friends, like she'll comment on my thing and it's like, you turned into Martha Stewart, like just how different my life is from, previous years. And it's not like I was doing anything bad or negative or living like, a crazy life, but it's just like my values have honed in.
Mhm.
The things that I believe, the things that the way that I walk, the way that I talk, what I listen to, what I read has all changed so dramatically that it's like I have no desire for certain movies anymore. Like my husband will be like, "Oh, you don't even want to watch like anything like fun anymore," and I'm like, "I'm sorry." It's just so that wasn't like a big part of me growing up, but it is now. And so, 10 years ago, when I first was approaching like doing freelance, I was just like, I don't know who I want to work with. I don't know who I want to work with. And in the last 5 years, it's like honed in more and more and more because I'll be honest, in the faith space, there's a lot of ugly design. And it's so unfortunate because God is beauty. And it's just so sad to see so much tacky, ugly things, cheap products being put out there in his name that, like my hope is to come in and change that and make
Mhm.
that different because, you know, it's like he's premium, so we should step out premium. The way that we live our lives should be reflected in the products that we put out. He is excellence, perfection. So we should hold ourselves up to a higher standard as well. And for a while, I was actually afraid to label myself and to say, I want to work with faith-led founders because
Mhm.
it does put like a target on your back. But that's part of standing in your truth and embracing who you want to work with and your calling. And like the longer I put off the assignment that God is calling me to, the longer it's going to take for somebody else to put their assignment. Like I'm here called to do something. And what if my ball rolling it and standing in my truth helps somebody else get their ball rolling, and that helps somebody else, and like we're all puzzle pieces and we all have to fit together in a certain way for certain things to happen.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. It goes back to the truth piece, right? This
Mm-hmm.
even if you're calling it like business strategy, but it's just like getting very clear, like who are you?
Mm-hmm.
What are your values? And how do you align them with the people you work with?
Mm-hmm.
And I do love that you lead with beauty and that
Yeah.
like you're like God is beautiful. Like like it's beauty. Like let's infuse that beauty into everything so that
Mm-hmm.
it's like that is so attractive rather
Yeah.
than repelling, which can happen depending on how you put out the message, right?
Yeah, right. And the truth is like I'm open to working with anybody, but just like spreading the light of God is like what lights me up. But like I love working with everybody, and it's also about like it doesn't have to be like a cross on everything. It's beautiful. That's not what I mean by beauty. I really mean that, like you said, like your eyes are drawn to it. You want to stuff. You want to dwell with whatever it is that you are putting out there, whether it's a video, a social media post, a cup, a book. You want to dwell in it and you want to spend time in it and you want to walk away refreshed by whatever it is that you spent time in. And that's what I mean by beauty. It's like capturing that essence of peace and love and tranquility. And like there's so many different ways to do that. It doesn't have to be like, beige or bold colors. It's like, whatever your message is, we can find beauty and bring that out. So I want to be clear that like beauty to me is not just like a specific branch of
Yeah.
beauty. It's just about that feeling that it invokes, that you want to spend time with whatever it is that you're spending time with.
Yeah, I love that because I think sometimes we get a little stuck in like what it looks like rather than what it is invoking inside of us,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
which is like even in our lives, right? Like it can be like, oh, my life doesn't look like anybody else's, but it feels like me, feels so good. It feels like it's in alignment, right?
mm-hmm,
Like that's a different perspective than kind of like the outside looking at everything and judging. This is
mm-hmm.
like kind of what you were talking about, your feminine intuition, right? The
Yes, exactly.
bringing it back to like, what does it feel like for me? Is this true?
Mm-hmm.
Is this beautiful? Do I feel at peace? Am I drawn in?
Yeah, exactly. And like being able, wanting to like dwell with yourself, right? And
Hmm.
sometimes I know I'm guilty of it, always trying to fit myself into different containers and realizing, well, these containers aren't me and they don't feel right. So that same thing is that of that beauty and of dwelling. It's like the more that you sit with yourself and the longer you get to know yourself, the more you want to dwell with yourself, the more you see yourself as beautiful, the more like your life just flows. So it all really connects.
Yeah, it does. I'm curious, like with you, like experiencing your younger life where maybe it was like trying out those different containers that don't fit. But do you believe that like that part of your life is kind of how you got to what you are seeing as your life now, as this container of faith and like your values now?
Yes, I do. And like it's so because one of the things that like I battled for a while was like regret that I didn't start the business earlier, regret that I didn't, step into my full container, into my full truth earlier. And I've had to come to that, peace and that accept and realization that the Magnolia that I am today wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all the previous versions of myself, which did feel right at that time. And I had to go through all those lessons and all those seasons and all those mistakes and successes to get to where I am right now. Because like if I didn't do a specific thing, then I would might have completely different values right now. So yeah, like even though like part of me is like I wish I'd started earlier, but it's like, you know what? I didn't. I my my calling was to start now and be sad. It's like, no, Jesus never lived in the past. I shouldn't either. There's nothing there anymore. There's nothing in tomorrow either. There's only this one moment. And learning to really root into that is such a different perspective that I still haven't perfected. I'm a huge work in progress, but at least like being aware of it, reminding myself that doesn't exist anymore, be thankful for it, root in as much as in the present as I can, and then leave tomorrow to tomorrow. Like it already today has enough cares already. Like I don't have to keep bringing the future in. And it's like my mother suffers from anxiety, so like I've like inherited those traits as well, and I'm learning to like let that go. And I was listening to a I forgot who it was exactly, but she was like, rather than use the word anxiety, she says, I'm feeling silly right now. And that kind of helps like reduce, it makes you laugh, and it helps
Yeah.
and it reduces that like big word into something that's like more manageable. So I'm like starting to like reprogram my mind to be like, oh, I'm feeling silly right now, or like this is not nerve, it's not anxiety, it's excitement. And not to like diminish what it is that I'm feeling, but to help me move in a different direction. Because like anxiety is like, like not power, but like it shuts you down in a way. But saying like, oh, I'm just feeling silly right now, it kind of helps open you up and to take different steps that maybe you would have otherwise. So yes, like if I hadn't gone through those seasons, like I wouldn't be with the knowledge and kind of this wisdom that I have.
Yeah, because I mean, I think it's easy for all of us to judge our younger selves, but we aren't who we are now without those experiences, without those lessons, without like trying out these other ways to be like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let me try this other one, right? Like we are an
Mm-hmm.
experiment of one, right? Like we're
Yeah,
living our lives
exactly.
trying to figure out what works for us and who we really are, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And like, you don't ever want to hurt somebody else. And I mean, we're humans, and that's going to happen. But like if you're stepping out with the best intentions and you're working to like reflect love and light and peace and helpfulness, like no matter what season, like you're going to get goodness back to you as well. So I'm all for trying different things, because it's like, how else would you know if something gravitates to you or not if you're not willing to like try it? And I do that with my children. I always say like, take a grateful bite, because you may love it or you may not, but unless you try it, you will never know.
Yeah, you're just assuming.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know about you, but whenever I assume, I'm usually very wrong.
Too, no, me. Oh, me too. 100%. It always comes back to heart. So like, bite me, and I'm like, oh.
Now I'm like, I knew that if I was this confident, I should be careful.
Yeah, no, seriously, that's a way to be humbled.
You're like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah, seriously.
So, is there anything about what your journey or what you're building now that you would love to share that we haven't talked about?
So actually, one of the things that I launched recently was a YouTube channel called In the
Yeah.
Margins with Magnolia, and it's where I'm sharing. I originally started to share my like documenting the building of my studio, because I knew that I wanted to, there are so many lessons that we go through when you're starting a new business. And a lot of the other women that I was seeing online already had successful businesses. They already had the coaches, they already had the money, they already had teams to help and support them. And while we don't hear about it, right, that there had teams in the background, and it could be somebody to help them in their home with their children, with their cooking, with their cleaning, or it could be a team in the background managing their social media, managing their graphics, managing their website. So having that support really helps unload. And so like you're over here comparing, well, why is my business not doing what their business is doing, And it's like, well, because they might have support that you don't know about. So I started in the margins with Magnolia to document my builds, because when I decided to go fully into building my studio, I kept saying to myself this phrase: I'm building this in the margins. I'm building this in the margins of my day. And that really just stuck with me, because I'm not the only one building something in the margins of my day. Whether you're going to work 9 to 5 and you're building your business before you go to work or after you come home, whether you have children or not, like we're all building in the margins of our full life. And I really wanted to share the lessons that I was learning as I was building, the business, what successes I'm having, what failures I'm having, what things have I tried in the past that didn't work. And it's slowly kind of transitioning into me rebuilding a life from the inside out, because
Mm.
I'm learning that as I'm building this studio, I have to change. The systems that I have in place to run my home need to change and adjust. Kind of like what we were talking at the beginning, that if my children need me and my attention, well, whatever work I'm doing has to be put aside. The tensions that are arising between me and my husband, because I'm building this business, but it's also impacting my husband, and he's fully supportive. And I make that clear in the episode, but there's still tensions. Like, he's gone all day at work, and then when he gets home, I'm like, oh, well, now I can spend a few more hours working because he's with the children. But he also wants to spend time with me. I also want to spend time with him. Our time is already limited. How do we work that out? So, but then I also have tasks that I need to work. So it's okay, now rethinking, what are my working hours, my homemaking hours, exercise. So it's like all of these moving pieces that I'm having so much fun just kind of talking about, and being able to sit just 5-10 minutes. It's not super long videos, but social media like Instagram is like so short form. Like you really can't get much across in like less than a minute. So I really wanted to be able to share deeper lessons that I'm learning, deeper truths, and how they all intertwine and intersect for other women who are also starting their own businesses, to be like, hey, we're doing this together. Things are not always going to work, but that's okay. You adjust, and you keep going. So that's been a fun challenge to add into like my workflow, because that's also a new thing, like recording the video, writing the video, editing the video. But it's been so nice to just be able to sit and kind of just reflect on everything that I've been learning, everything that I've been doing, what lessons are gained from that, and being able to like share that out. Because I'm not like a very introspective person. I'm not somebody who just like sits and like journals. Like I've become that because I've learned that if you just keep moving forward and not sit and think about the past, then you're just going to keep repeating the same mistakes
Yeah.
over and over again. And there is a good habit of being able to sit down and say, okay, these are the lessons, these are the things that I've tried, this isn't what's working, and like to just sit with yourself and do that. So that's been one of the newest projects that I've been working on, and it's yielded so much fruit just personally, because it's helped me to be like, oh, this is another lesson that I can talk about. Or so I have like a wealth of ideas. It's just about being able to sit down and record it, but I've been enjoying it so far.
So cool, because it's almost like you're giving yourself a space to like verbally process in a way that then is beneficial for other people who are also like, how on earth are all these businesses seeming to run so smoothly? And it's like,
Mhm.
because they don't, or they worked through like like, okay, how do we do this, how do we merge everything together, right? Let's come up with compromises on the on like how do we balance the relationships and the children and the who do we need to hire so that it starts to
Mhm.
work more smoothly. And we are seeing the finished product, the fancy product
Exactly.
after
Exactly.
all that. And you're getting to
Yes.
share, hey, this is how I'm working through in real time ish,
Mm-hmm.
right? With
Mm-hmm.
these like growing pains.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. And so I started it in April. So I only have like about 11 or 12 episodes, but I have like, and I took a 2 week break because I had so many projects due within this last like week and a half. And I was like, that's just too much to add on top of the plate. Like, that's another thing that we women, we think like we're super women and we can do it all. And it's like, that's part of the ease as well to say, you know what, I can't tackle this right now. And one of the things that I've learned, and I will share this in an episode, is like there
Mhm.
are no rules. Like we think on, from in business that it's like, no, I have to show up every single week. I need to send an email every single time I'm thinking. It's like nobody cares. Like, yes, you want to show up faithfully to your audience, but you also need to show up faithfully to yourself. And if you need to take a break, it's okay. It'll be there when you come back, and you may have to just put a little bit of extra work to get the algorithm working for you. But also, like, I'm at the beginning, so who cares?
Right? Right. Like
Yeah.
any views is good, right? You're like, yeah.
Exactly. And it's I've got somebody watching. And I have an episode all about that. It's like, it took me a long time to be okay with the building in secret.
Yeah.
Right, that a lot of times you have to build in the quiet when there's nobody looking, when there's nobody there. And a lot of times because we want the eyes, we see it as like, oh, why is nobody watching my stuff? But the truth of the matter is that that's a beautiful gift. And if we can reframe it from, why is nobody watching, to what a gift it is that I get to show up for myself and to do the
Mhm.
thing that I'm passionate about. And I get to make all the mistakes early before anybody comes in. And like it's such a gift to that quiet inner formation, because it's a lot of work to show up every week. And those 5 people that are watching, those 10 people that are watching, those 100 people, those 1,000, like it slowly grows.
Yeah.
And they grow with us, and like we show up for them, we show up for ourselves. But it helps humble you, it helps teach you perseverance, it helps teach you patience. And in a culture of instant gratification, it helps fortify our soul, that it's like, no, I'm here for a reason. There's people who need to hear me. I don't know when they'll hear me. They could be hearing me in 5 years. They could be hearing me in 10 years. But at least I showed up, and you showed up, and like you're here for a reason. And like eventually the people are going to find you, but you need to keep showing up. And it's tough, because we want that instant fame, but
Yeah.
it is a real gift to grow slowly and steadily and quietly, until that spark happens. Because sometimes like when you get that spark too quickly, your systems all fall, you get burnt out, and because you hadn't prepared yourself for what that visibility really brings. So I see it as like such a gift.
Yeah, because it lets you like let go of outcome a little bit, right? Like loosen your
Mm-hmm.
grip. You're like just practicing putting stuff out there. I'm being
Mm-hmm.
like, yay, I did it. I'm being consistent. I'm like
Mm-hmm.
putting out stuff that I'm excited about. Or,
Mm-hmm.
oh, 2 people watched it, right?
Yeah.
I helped 2 people, or right, gave them a little bit more interesting perspective. And it's like allows this it to feel a little bit more sustainable, because like exactly like you said, whether it's your systems, like your business systems, or your system, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
could be
Mm-hmm.
like totally overloaded if you're like poof, and you're like, well, now what am I supposed to do? I had 2 people watching my videos, and now
Yeah,
there's a
seriously.
million people watching. Like, what am I
And
supposed to do?
what am I supposed to do? Like, how am I supposed to serve all these people? Or like, because the thing is
Yeah.
like, it's not all gonna be positive. There's gonna
Yes.
be some negativity that comes in at some point, and like we don't prepare ourselves for that negativity. We only prepare ourselves for the positivity. So when that negativity comes, how do you receive that? And doing it slowly and quietly helps you kind of desensitize yourself a little bit to like any negative stuff, and you're like, you know what? Water off my shoulders, whatever. But if it comes all at once, there's like no
Yeah.
preparation for that. You can't
No.
develop that thick skin so quickly.
Well, and the muscle, right?
Yeah,
Like
and the
like
muscle.
building a muscle. And like I told you
Mm-hmm.
when you had some haters, I was like, You're doing something right if you're attracting the people you're really making mad.
Yeah, I guess.
You're doing something. People are seeing your stuff, which,
Yeah.
is not ideal, but also is like, well, you are being true, right? Like you are
Mhm.
going to, if you are being true to yourself, and you're going to hit a nerve. And yes,
Mhm.
some people react negatively, but that means other people are going, huh, how curious,
Mhm.
right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
I would like to work with her. Wow, what
Yeah.
she said really resonates,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, no, it's so true, and it's true because like I remember I used to be somebody like that like 10 years ago. When I saw somebody, going to brunch or going on vacation, like I would get really upset, and I'm like, what? Like that, like all of that like stuff in my head. And I took a break from social media because it was like really negative for me. But I've come to see that whenever I get upset about something, it means that it's revealing something about myself. And then I then sit down and I'm like, why is that specific thing throwing me off the handle? What is it that I'm revealing about myself? And I take that as like a mirror rather than like, spewing it all over somebody else, because they're just living their life. They're just doing their thing. They're not, thinking about me or my life. So I like, and that's really helped me have a better relationship with social media now than to just be like, well, why is it me? But it's like, what can I learn from this? Or why is that
Yeah.
affecting me in this kind of way?
Yeah, it goes back to like being curious about our own reactions, right? You're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is interesting. I wonder what this is really about. And
Mm-hmm.
like, that's a skill also that to be building for ourselves, whether it's you as accepting the negative feedback and allowing it to just flow past, or for us when we feel that trigger is such a overused word, but like that little bit of like, ugh, feeling like
Mm-hmm.
some negativity. It's like, a why?
Yeah.
Why am like,
Yeah.
where's
Wow.
my insecurity that's like lighting up?
Yeah, yeah, like, and that's part of the process that I'm going through of like learning my own self and my own body. Because for so many years, I trampled down my own needs, my own wants, my own needs. I think I said that, but like needs, wants, desires
Yeah,
for so
yeah,
long that it's like becoming in tune with like, well, the truth of who I am and what I want and what I need, and like using those as signals and not just like alarm bells to be angry, and which has been like so freeing and so nice because it's like giving yourself permission to just be with yourself. And we have like in our home over our bedroom, over our bed, the phrase "be, do, have." And I always told my husband, like, I don't understand be. I don't understand be because I live in do.
yeah,
And now I'm learning the importance of be, that you can't do until you be, because then the items that you're doing might not be in alignment with your real be, with your real self. And then you're just wasting time and spinning your wheels. So it has to start with you first, sitting with yourself, understanding yourself, going through the scenic route, right?
mhm,
So then your actions now really do align with the direction you really want to go, and not where the world is telling you to go or where you
yeah,
think you should go. And then you have your have, which is the life that it is that you're really building towards.
yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's so good. So if people are curious, and we'll put all your links in the show notes, but where would you like people to find you?
Oh yeah, so I would love people to come to my Instagram. That's where I post regularly at strength. One second. So people can find me at Strength Grace Co on Instagram. They could also find me on YouTube at in the margins with Magnolia.
Hmm.
If you're building in the margins and you would like a framework to help you build more effectively in the margins, I actually do have a freebie. This is what I use at the beginning of my build process to help me identify what windows in my day do I have that I could do the work that I need to do to move me forward, because I have a window in the morning, in the afternoon, and the evenings. And what's one thing that I could do there to build? And because at the beginning, just really quickly, the reason I built this is because I was afraid that I didn't have enough hours in the day to be able to do everything that I
Yeah.
wanted to do to get my business moving forward. And what I've learned in these last 4-ish months, 6 months, because I started in January, so 6 months, is that it compounds. So even if I only have about 4 hours a day that I could put towards my business, some days only two, like today, and it's been 2.5 hours that I've poured into my business, but over a week, right? If I do an hour every day, that's 7 hours that I poured into my business. A year, that's 350, 360 hours that I poured into my business. Over 3 years, that's over 1,000 hours that I poured into my business. And that helped me really rethink what um, the time that I'm pouring into my business in the margins, it does matter, it does count, and it does compound. And that helped me like really show up, because at the beginning I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do my website. I need a portfolio. I need to get clients. I need to start posting on social media, but I only have
Yeah.
3 hours. Like, how am I gonna make that happen? And then this framework really has helped me just hone in. And like now I look back and I'm like, I've done 3 branding proposals. I'm working on an adoration campaign. I'm working on a conversation card. Like, so things are
Yeah.
moving, things are moving. And that really helps me to be like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to your idea of like the reflections, the integration time, right? Like if you don't take time to look back and see what you actually accomplished in 6 months with maybe 3 hours a day, like that's up, like you'd be like, what am I doing? Right. But you've done so much and within the bounds of the life you want to live, which is magic.
Yes, it is. And that's another thing about like how we're talking about like living more in alignment with your true self. It's like I'm in the process of building a life first business. Like my business is within the confines
Mhm.
of my life. It's not going to overtake my life, because my family is the center of my life. And if it starts to encroach too much on that, then that's a problem. And like we need to like reevaluate. And of course, like there's days when I'm not working late into the night. I'm a graphic designer. Design takes a while. Like like sometimes it takes me 3 hours just to find the right font, but that's because it's my passion and I love what I do, and I like put a lot of care and intentionality into it. But I do the same thing with my family, so it's just like blocking the time out for that.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being here, Magnolia, and sharing all your beautiful wisdom.
Thank you so much for having me, Victoria. This was so much fun.
It was so fun. And thanks everybody who listened. And please go visit Magnolia on Instagram, on YouTube, go to her website. It will all be in the show notes. Follow her YouTube channel. And if you like this show, please subscribe and rate and share. See you next time.